Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the opening round of the FRS ACC Sprint Series, hosted over on the FRS Sim Racing Discord. This is our opening round here at the Nurburgring. So just to explain the format to you, we've got a 5-minute qualifying session here, which gives our drivers just enough time to set an out lap, a warm-up lap to get those tyres up to temperature, followed by their quickest hot lap of the session. And then we'll be going into our first race of the evening, which is a 30-minute sprint race with no mandatory pit stops. We will then head over to our second qualifying session, which will be the same format as this one. So out lap, warm up and hot lap, and then we will go into our second sprint race of the evening. Again, another 30-minute lights to flag event, and then we will be done here this evening. So expect this to all take just over an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes overall. So get yourself a drink, get yourself settled in, and we'll bring you a night of hopefully great racing. Yeah, apologies, a bit of a last minute hosting of this one, so took me a while to get things set up, but we are underway now. So we're going to watch as Donald Duck gets underway on I imagine this will be his first warm-up lap of the session. Now we'll be having words with some of these drivers to put a base livery on their cars, because I think we do have quite a few which are running the stock carbon fibre option, which doesn't look the best on our streams. Let's go through our order and see who else we have on our grid. We've got Philip von Scheven in the Instinct Team Audi R8, currently sitting in P1, but has yet to, all of our drivers yet to set a time, so these orders will change about. We then have, as we've already seen, Donald Duck in the Amundsen Racing Aston Martin V8. We have Gianluca Broglie in the, if my eyes don't mistake me, is that the Aston Martin V12 we have here? Bit of a retro car, and not one you see very often, so nice to see that car being used by someone here. We then have, still in the pits, Prune Tracy of Deadly Racing in the Porsche 911. Don't think we'll be seeing Prune setting a better lap here in qualifying, having already done a 1:55.7. We then have Matthias Pentilla in the Scuderia Tryhard Honda NSX. We have Hussam Al-Khadib in the Team Hussam Aston Martin, again with Sans livery. We have Hollow in the hot pink Ferrari 488. I believe this is the non-Evo version of the car, as it does not have the front aerodynamic parts that we'd expect to see on the upgraded version. We've got Elliot in the Only Clowns Racing Aston Martin V8. Got Conor Mcdermott in the Team Iron Brew Racing Nissan GTR. Good to see Godzilla out on track. We have FaZe in the Poggers Racing Lexus. We have Garly Momes in the Joe Gabonito Racing Team McLaren 720. We have Clement de Klerk in the McFly Racing Team Porsche 911. Alistair Waugh in the Farage Garage or the Farage Garage, depending on your taste. And he is driving what appears to be, if I can look at the front correctly, I think that is again an old Ferrari. So very interesting to see some people driving the non-Evo versions of the cars tonight. We've got our King Walrus in the Scuderia Voyobo Corsa. A lovely gold livery there. The AMG. And Tom Lightbody in the Porsche 911. Oh, as the qualifying session is now over. We have our grid for our first race tonight. So we have Ali Waugh, Prune Tracy and FaZe, our top three in this grid. As we can take the opportunity to run us through the standing order. So we have Ali Waugh, Prune Tracy, FaZe, Kovacs, Duck, Cogley, Hollow, Spike, Dermott, Elliott, Pentilla, Al-Khatib, Lightbody, de Klerk, Ayag, Von Schwerven, Milms, Boris. Where did that go? Okay, and we are ready to get underway. Here. So just a short formation corner here at the Nurburgring. So we'll be ready to get underway racing soon. Let's see how these drivers do. On our first race, just a few drivers having to catch up to get to their starting slots as we get ready to get underway here at the Nurburgring. And we have green flag, and we're running as we head down to the first corner. Looks like Ali Waugh has managed to hold on to P1, the heavy braking zone of turn 1 with Prune Tracy. Actually, looks like it's Prune Tracy ahead of Ali Waugh there. They come around the second corner here. Oh, and we've got a collision in the back. It looks like that is the Nissan of McDermott round, so that is unfortunate. We take a look back, we can see what happened there. So through the first corner fine, it just looks like an unfortunate touch there from the Aston Martin. And it will take him a while to catch up after that one. And that's right, yep. McDermott is Crusoe, the only driver brave / stupid enough to drive the Nissan on this event. Apologies, give me 1 second, I can make this look a damn sight nicer. There we go. Apologies, I had it in my VR driving settings, which aren't the nicest to look at. So our leader, Prune Tracy, has got a 1.3 second gap back to Alistair Waugh, so good getaway for Prune Tracy there. And Ali Waugh under some pressure from the two drivers of Cogley and FaZe at the moment at this point in the race. Further back, we've got a fight over 7th place as Hollow is being chased down by Pentilla and Kovacs. And a lot of drivers actually, so I just noticed, picking up drive-through penalties. So that could be for either being out of position on the start or for corner cutting. It would be strange for it to be corner cutting this early on in the race, so I suspect some of them just missed their start box in the rolling start here. Something some of these drivers probably aren't so used to, coming over from Formula 1 as most of them are. And further back, we've got a four-way fight over P15 at the moment, with IAG holding up this train slightly. In this group we have got IAG, Morms, Tom Mack, McDermott and Ramadan, all very close together, and it looks like Tom Mack in the Ferrari just muscling his way through there. And McDermott, already making up some positions after that unfortunate spin on the opening lap, is now under pressure from Ramadan. They head into the chicane. Not much you can really do there apart from just hanging behind the car in front. It's really this final corner where the drivers are going to be looking to get an advantage, get that exit and try and out-drag the car ahead down to the first corner. But it doesn't look like Ramadan's managed to get a good enough exit here, and we'll have to sit behind McDermott for a bit, as McDermott's making a move up the inside of Tom Mack there. Oh, and a big contact between the two cars there. Looked like Tom Mack just didn't realise McDermott would be on the inside there, perhaps just not quite judging the braking zones here and allowing McDermott to slide up the inside. Now McDermott does lead this pack and will look to close the gap to the car ahead. Oh, and our battle for P5 continues as Pentilla opts to drop back behind Hollow going into the Schumacher S. Probably wise there, so it's not really one of the corners you can go side by side through. Pentilla still with the drive-through penalty from earlier in the race, so we'll have to serve that soon, as a number of drivers have already served their drive-through penalty and will look to make their way back up the order. As, yep, Pentilla does dive into the pits now, so expect to see them emerge further down the field. Wrigley still leading this battle for P2. Both neither FaZe nor Spike able to make up any ground as of yet. And after having served the drive-through penalty at the start of, well, from the instant at the start of the race, Alistair Waugh is now making his way up the field, now sitting in P10 behind Marin, and looking for a way past at the moment. Does look like Alistair Waugh may have been in the battles a bit there. A few scuffs on the side of that what looks to be a JPS liveried Ferrari. Further down the back of the field, there is also a race brewing for position 21, with Smith actually carrying a stop-go 30-second penalty. I can only imagine that is for speeding in the pit lane, so Smith potentially picking up that penalty at the beginning, a drive-through, and then speeding into the pit lane trying to serve it. That is going to wreck their race here, but von Schreven right on the back of them as they head into the chicane, and well, both heavily cut the chicane. Maybe von Schreven, they're just trying to use Smith to judge their braking point, and both of them flying straight past the corner. Now Kovacs is looking to make a move on Hollow, has been following fairly close behind for a number of laps now, but the gap is smaller than it has been, and we might expect to see a move before the end of this race. Still 20 minutes remaining, so Kovacs can afford to be patient for a while. As they approach the chicane, Kovacs will be looking just to try and get as close to the back of Hollow as they can as they come to the final corner and the all-important traction zone out of this final corner. It's probably one of the best opportunities for overtaking on the circuit, so really important to get that exit just right. Does look like Kovacs has closed the gap up, but not enough to make a move into the first corner. As it's like, is that one a yep, and it's an out of position Aston Martin just holding up these runners, but both are past now, can continue their racing. Down in 12th and 13th place, Mcdermott has got Ramadan for company, as I think Ramadan, also having to serve a drive-through penalty earlier in the race, is looking to make some positions up, and I think a lot of these drivers will be hopefully learning from their mistakes in race 1 and just being a bit more careful on the race start. And I see Hummersep is in the chat trying to troll some people. So it comes to the Schumacher S. Important corner to carry a lot of speed through, but is very easy to just get it a bit wrong there and either overshoot the top of the far chicane or to flick the rear out and spin the car around. So they run down to the final, or the chicane into the final corner. We'll see if Khalid Ramadan is able to get the better traction and out-drag Mcdermott. However, that Nissan does have an awful lot of power coming out of the corners, so it is a hard one to out-drag. And you can just see there the gap widening at the start of the straight and then closing up towards the end as the improved straight line performance of the Porsche just coming into play. And looks like Ramadan's just going to have to tuck in behind for a while longer. Whereas in the fight over P8, it looks like Marin has just lost out to Charlie Chibbles there in the bright green Bentley. It's good to see the Boatley out here. Car really likes to eat up curbs, and that can really play dividends in the final chicane here at the Nurburgring. As Marin just gets a little bit wide there. Probably won't be able to... Oh, well, it actually is keeping with the Bentley of Chibbles quite well. We come into the third sector here, and it looks like they've now also beginning to hit the traffic of some blue flagged cars. As Marin is looking to try and make a move into the chicane. Not really the corner to be making a move, especially against the Bentley, which is going to be the car to take one of the straightest lines through this corner. And Charlie Chibbles is looking to make a move on the inside of Elliott. And Elliott left just enough room there. May have been no contact by the looks of things between the two. Oh, and a big contact there between Chibbles and Marin, and sends Marin round, and well, he won't be happy with that. That was looked to be quite an aggressive move from Chibbles. We take a look at that again from a different angle. So with Marin on the inside line and Chibbles on the outside, and yeah, Chibbles there just trying to take a bit of an earlier apex than Marin, and well, I mean, you can't really get two cars into that bit of track, so I've got to say that's probably on Chibbles more than Marin in that case. And fighting continues over P2 with Corrigley, FaZe and Spike all vying over the second podium position. Prune Tracy is, from their perspective, unfortunately just too far out of contention at the moment. With being 11 seconds up the road, it's really these three fighting over second place, which is the biggest points paying fight on the track right now. Alistair War is continuing to make up ground here, now on the back of Donald Duck. And you can really see the control and the pace that Alistair War has in that Ferrari. Able to take a much tighter line without losing all that much speed around the corner there. And as they come into the second hairpin, you can just see how under control that Ferrari is. Oh, I say that, there's a lot of sand that Alistair was taken there on the inside of the Schumacher S, and that's going to, well, slow them down basically as much as a small tap on the brake. So, yeah, that's not really what you want to be doing. So they now come down to the chicane. Just be the final corner, and Alistair will be looking to take an opportunity to get past the Aston Martin of Donald Duck. It's a nice wide line. Should be able to get a decent exit here. And yes, looks like Alistair Ward's got a much better exit than Donald Duck, but the straight line speed of the Aston is not to be trifled with. As the War takes the inside line, looks like he's got a good run into the second corner here. We'll be able to hold it around the outside. It's a nice sweeping corner and multiple lines are possible, so that is a good position for Aston to be in, although it does cut back in a bit here, and a nice switchback from Alistair Ward, and he has made the move. Nice racing from the two of them, and in the end Alistair Ward gets the position. And it looks like this fight between these second, third and fourth place drivers could continue to the end of this race. As I mentioned before, no pit stops necessary for these drivers, so it's just a pedal to the metal sprint race here, and well, without a pit stop to separate them, I think they're just going to be racing like this until the checkered flag. Since making the move on Donald Duck, Alistair Wall has not been able to drop the Aston Martin driver just yet. So these two continuing to fight as they close up to the back of a backmarker McLaren, I believe that is. Yep, as Alistair Wall cuts the corner there and doesn't seem to get out the throttle, so needs to be careful he doesn't do that too often, because that will result in a track violation or track limits violation penalty if he's not careful. The McLaren potentially just getting in the way of this fight a little bit, but gets out of the way before the corner, so that shouldn't impact their fighting too much. Well, at the front, Kovacs is as close to phase as he's ever been. It's almost putting his splitter under the diffuser of the Lexus. He's that close, and you can see how frustrating it is just to get caught behind another car here at the Nurburgring. It's only really a few places where overtaking is possible without a Hail Mary dive. And sometimes you just got to tuck in behind the car in front and spot your opportunity. And looks like Kovacs just dropping back a little bit there. Coming up to an all-important part of the track as we go through the Schumacher S. Ooh, and a big sideways moment there for Faze has allowed Kovacs to come back into contention. Not a place to overtake just coming up as we head into the fast right-hander before the chicane. And again, Kovacs just dropping back and probably not going to be in a position to make a move. But all this fighting has allowed Spike to just pull away from this pair. So Kovacs now trying to look over the back of the Lexus, but not enough room to make the move. Oh, and that is a contact there, and really that should be looking to give that position back. And Kovacs driving off after that contact, and well, we're not looking to steward this race, but if we were, I don't think they'd be too happy with him gaining an advantage there from quite considerable contact. Donald Duck looking to catch up to the back of Hollow now. Alistair Watt already having made the move past Hollow earlier in the race. It's now the opportunity for Donald Duck to make a move on the Ferrari driver, as he does seem to be catching and has been closing that gap considerably under the last few laps. Further down the field now, Conor Mcdermott, after the big contact on the opening lap of this race, making his way back up the field, now finds himself on the back of Tom Mack's Ferrari. At this stage of the race, does seem to have the pace advantage over Tom Mack, but with only a few overtaking opportunities around this circuit, he will have to choose his moment to make a move. I would expect that coming out of this final corner, the Nissan should just have the advantage over the Ferrari. Of course, that does depend on getting the good exit, and does appear to be closing on the back here, but not quite enough as they enter into the first corner. And McDermott will just be wary of this being the position where he did have contact before and got spun out of the race, so we want to be careful. Just seems here that McDermott is able to take the slightly tighter lines through some of these corners, which really in these GT3 cars is sometimes the best approach. They don't like turning for a long time. It's better to slow right down, take the corner quickly and then get back on the power, than try and round the corner out as you would in a Formula 1 car. McDermott does just get himself completely past, but contact there made between the two drivers. We see if we can take a look at that again. See what happened. McDermott takes the inside line, gets his car fully ahead, and yeah, he's just running a bit wide there. It's hard to really call who would be at fault, because although McDermott was fully ahead at that point, he did run wide of the corner and tried to slow it down in front of Tom Mack. So I think that was a bit more of a racing incident. And now that FaZe has dropped off the back of this fight, fighting can resume up front as Quigley and Spike and Kovacs are as close as they've ever been again. Quigley did get a little bit of a respite earlier once FaZe has got himself involved in here, but I believe now that FaZe has got an alley war chasing him down. He's just dropped the pace a little bit. Oh, and a little bit of a mistake there from Quigley. Slightly opened the door for Spike, who is a new racer in this game, just having bought it a couple of weeks ago. And I believe he's driving with a pad at the moment, so it's a very good going for the Porsche driver here. It's a good exit for Spike. He's right in the slipstream of the Aston Martin. Ooh, and it's a good move on the inside. Both drivers giving each other a respectful amount of space. Looks like Spike has the inside line, which will turn into the outside line as they loop back. So it's really going to be about the run out of this corner, and it does look like Spike has the better run with the better traction and has managed to make the move stick. So they come down into the fast left-hander. Quickly has got the inside line as they go 3 wide through the corner. This is beautiful racing between this trio. It does look like for now Spike has managed to hold the position. So quickly dives to the inside. Minor contact between them, but as they say, rubbing is racing here, and quickly managing to take the position back. This is very, very good, very respectful racing between these 3 drivers. With just 1 minute remaining in this race. And then so the leader has now started the final lap, so I suspect we'll have about 2 minutes remaining of this race. So these drivers will get 1 more lap after they cross the start-finish line. And as you can see behind, FaZe is beginning to join this fight as well, as their battling has slowed them down and brought FaZe back into contention. So this could be a real shootout for P2 in this race. As Spike there just gets too close to the back of Quigley going into the braking zone, forces them to get out of the power and allows Kovac's back pass. So the order is all changed at the front, and some back markers getting into play as well here, and need to be careful not to hold up the field. Spike looks to make a move on Kovac's again. And now Spike, having lost out to Kovacs, is now under threat from FaZe. So they come into the second hairpin. FaZe taking the outside line. He's going to pick up a lot of marbles on his tyres there. You can see all the rubber off the line. As they come up to the Schumacher S, they also have Aliwar joining this fight behind, not too far behind. Fight for P2 continues. You now see our leader come round the final corner to take the checkered flag. Our race winner today is Prune Tracy. Now Quigley comes round to take the checkered flag for P2. Followed behind by Kovacs, Spike, FaZe and Alistair War. Hollow. Next will be Donald Duck, followed by Charlie Chibbles, Marin. And then coming around the final corner now is Elliot in the Only Clowns Racing Aston Martin. Just going around the corner now, we have Ramadan or Pentilla, followed by Ramadan for P's positions 12 and 13, and Tom Mack in the Count the Curbs Racing Ferrari, coming home in P14 for race 1, followed by Lightbody and Conor McDermott. And following not too far behind, we have Philip von Scheven, Al-Khatib, and our final driver on the lead lap to cross the finish line will be Clement de Klerk. as we wait for the drivers to... Oh, as you see, Prue and Tracy just giving us a few celebratory donuts as we get ready for our second qualifying session of the evening. Welcome back. We're now in our second qualifying session of this evening. As we watch our race winner from race 1, Prue and Tracy, head out on his outlap. So a bit later on in the evening here at the Nurburgring, as you can see, sun just setting beautifully in the distance. And we may start to see the sun set on us here as we enter the second race of the evening. A few drivers yet to take to the track. They'll want to be doing so soon so that they can get their full qualifying session underway. But as Prue and Tracy rounds the final few corners, let's go right on board. In his Porsche. And let Prue and Tracy take us on a lap around the Nurburgring. We come to the second corner here. Really just want to come off the accelerator, allow the car to coast and bleed off some speed naturally. Third corner, heavy trail braking into the apex. And again, trail brake into the apex of corner 4, accelerate out, use as much of the curb as you can. So on to turn 5, slight on the brakes, very fast corner, sort of a little bit deceptive how much speed you can actually take into that corner, into the fast right hairpin. So we come into the second hairpin, very sweeping corner here. Just have to be very patient and find your acceleration reference. So it looks like Phage just gets out of the way there to allow Prue and Tracy to continue on his way on this warm-up banker lap. We cleared the Schumacher S. We come into this medium speed left-hander into a sweeping right-hander. It would be helpful if I knew the names of these corners. All I know is the Schumacher S. So we come down towards the chicane here. You'll see how Prue and Tracy opts to take the chicane on this warm-up lap. It's one where you can really take a lot of curb, but it can be risky as well. You see there, the Porsche just getting a little bit out of control, but expertly handled by Prue and Tracy. Doesn't lose too much time. And we'll happily take the slipstream from the Ferrari as Prue and Tracy sets a 1:55.3 and just decided to go back to the pits because why not? You've just set a blinding lap that probably no one else is going to beat. It's just the way it is. So we see Donald Duck on to improve his lap, currently 0.3 up on his previous best. The sun really setting on us here at the Nurburgring. Donald Duck is looking for a great improvement on their time here. It's currently 4/10 up on their previous best. With just one corner to go, let's see what Donald Duck is able to do. Oh, with just a little bit of time lost there around the final corner, only manages a 1:55.8 to put their Aston Martin into P4. Another driver who looks to be on for a good improvement here is Tom Mack. So he comes across the start-finish line. And yet there's an improvement of a second for Tom Mack. Still only gets them P15, but a good personal improvement there for Tom Mack, and they'll be happy with the pace they're finding here. One driver left to complete their lap. Oh, no, actually, no, they have seen the checkered flag. It just says they're allowed to continue going. Okay. Yeah, Madster, definitely want to turn the graphic settings down for VR. Everyone would have seen what I had my graphics set to at the start of this event. It wasn't pretty, but it allows me to drive. Wah. We take a look again at our starting grid. This time we have FaZe in P1, by Prune Tracy, Kovacs, Alistair War, Duck, Chibbles, Spike, Krigley, Dermott, Bonchevan, Hollow, Elliott, Alkatib, Morms, Lightbody, Iag, Mac, Smith, Ramadan, and Marin. So yeah, definitely a strong qualifying there from FaZe. Didn't see him set that lap, but damn, it was a fast one. And FaZe perhaps making a mistake on the start there, not holding the brakes and cooling the tyres, and this could be it's going to have very cold tyres there, FaZe, as just drove around the final corner rather than doing any special tyre warming. Oh, and there's a lot of contact here. If we look further back in the field, looks like Mcdermott got involved in it again, and oh, big collisions. Well, from other leagues I've raced in, we know that race 2 is usually the dirtier affair, and as it proves to be the case here as well. Drivers just hoping to make up a few more positions based on what happened in the first race, and yeah, well, you see what happens. As FaZe has dropped a few positions here, down to P3. Kovacs has taken the lead of this race, followed by Prune Tracy. And FaZe finds himself under pressure from Alistair War. Further down the order, we have a race brewing for P10 with Mac Smith leading this pack in the Meat Snacks Aston Martin. Very fun livery there. Tom Mack finding himself under pressure from Spike. The Porsche moving to the outside. I'm going to try and switch back to the inside, take the inside line to take the outside line around the second corner. Tom Mack with just a little bit of better exit has put now Spike under pressure from Marin in the AMG and is now under pressure from Elliott in the Aston Martin. So that one move that Spike looked like he wanted to take on the outside of Tom Mack has now cost him 3 positions. Just not being able to get the drive out of one corner shows how much that some of these corners at the Nurburgring, it's just all about making one corner flow into another. It seems we have had a 3-car collision further down the field, so let's go take a look what happened there. Oh! Oh! Well, the end of that looked bad. See, we suspect Spike might have damage, and actually that looks like that might be the case. If we take a look at the start of the race and have a look at Spike, car number 67, we can see what happened. Just keep an eye on the gold Porsche here. Yep, just few collisions there, pumped from behind, and that will be damage to the front and the rear aero of Spike. Now Tom Mack finding himself under pressure. Ramadan taking the inside line. As the Porsche is through, now Spike will be looking to similarly make his way through past Tom Mack. Actually, it ends up being Donald Duck who gets a move made on Spike just behind. Further up the field, our main protagonists from the last race are back at it again as Carigli's looking to make a move on Phase for P4 in this race. As the sun begins to set on the Nurburgring, looks like we might end up getting a bit of night running here as we head in towards the end of race 2. Now it just looks like the Bentley of Charlie Chibbles is able to catch onto the back of Carigli. You can really see how big that, what a big hefty car that Bentley is. We also have a three-way battle over P8 in this race, with McDermott doing a lot better job this race than in race 1, currently holding on to P8, but is under pressure from Momes and Marin. As Marin gets a very good run through the chicane. The McLaren really doesn't like going anywhere near the curbs of that final chicane, whereas the AMG Mercedes just gobbles them up, so does allow Marin to get a lot better run through that final chicane. Marin has got the move made on Momes. Looks like Momes is dropping a little bit back there, so Marin won't have to be looking too much in his mirrors and can start looking ahead towards chasing down McDermott. Down in P15, 16 and 17, Tom Mack has found himself under pressure from Max Smith and Hussam Al-Khatib as they come down into, which I don't even know where they are on the track. Oh, this is the second hairpin. The two Aston Martins side by side now as they head towards the Schumacher S, and Smith just opting to drop back there as Tom Mack is around. And that does allow the two Aston Martins to get by. McDermott still under a lot of pressure now from Marin. Well, Marin taking a lot, it's cutting quite a lot of the track there, but does now have the inside line going into the final corner. It should be a fairly straightforward matter of getting the drive out of the corner and then pulling away from the Nissan. McDermott doesn't look like he wants to give up the position just yet. Is sticking with Marin here. Needs to be careful that this battling doesn't cause him to lose out also to Momes behind, as McLaren driver is looking around and wants to try and make a move. The front of our field, Prune Tracy still following closely with Kovacs, with 19 minutes remaining of this race. Doesn't have to rush a move at this stage, and can afford to just sit in behind and carry around. As it looks like that's Alistair Waugh there. Just a little bit of an incident. Let's see what happened there. Oh, and a big sideways moment for us. Looks like he just about manages to keep it out of the wall. And that moment for Alistair has now allowed Charlie Chibbles to catch up behind. You can see how much that that Bentley just does not care about curbs. Charlie Chibbles has got the inside line there, and Waugh needs to be careful he doesn't get caught up behind the Lexus, and well, manages to pull ahead of the Bentley, so doesn't need to worry about that, but misses the entry of the corner there. Not quite sure what happened. Don't believe this car is carrying too much damage, just looks like a little bit of bodywork scratching. I haven't seen him have any big impacts. Charlie Chibbles is past and pulling away. this battling is now allowing Quigley to close up behind this group. So it is now a four-way fight for P3s. Quigley goes very, very wide there. And that's what I was saying with the Schumacher S. It's so easy to do what either Alistair Waugh or Quigley did there through that corner. You can either take too much of the inside curb and spin the car, or you don't get close enough to the inside curb and you end up overshooting the exit of the S. And really, once you've committed to it, unless you are really back out of the throttle, your line is kind of set with your first turn in. There's a good run from Alistair here. Right on the back of the Bentley of Charlie Chibbles. Looks like he's going to try and take a move to the inside. Just about backs out of it. Charlie Chibbles runs very close to the Lexus of FaZe. Manages to avoid contact as... Oh, Alistair Waugh does not avoid contact there and does the honourable thing though and allows Charlie Chibbles to get back underway. And doesn't gain a position from the contact, so gentlemanly conduct there from Alistair Waugh. Now finds himself under pressure from Quigley. Ooh. And more contact there for Alistair Waugh as the two brush doors. Down the order, there's a battle brewing for P9 as Elliott is chasing down McDermott, and behind that we have Ramadan chasing down Donald Duck. Oh, and Donald Duck taking an awful lot of curb there, going through the chicane. Maybe a little more than he anticipated, but manages to keep the Aston Martin pointing in the right direction, even with only two wheels on the floor. Ramadan takes very inside line there, and a little bit of contact with Donald Duck, but nothing too major as both cars managed to get back underway. Whereas these four are now as close as they've ever been, coming into the second chicane. So they come up towards the Schumacher S. Elliott has... Oh, and there's big contact there between Ramadan and Donald Duck. Let's see that again. Oh, just Ramadan just missing his braking point there and going straight into the back of Duck. Does allow the Aston Martin driver to get going again, but that's cost them both very dearly. Aston Martin, after having missed out a little bit at the start of this race, is now catching back up to Marin. Oh, and that's again taking a lot of dirt on the Schumacher S, and did well to avoid having a mirror image of the incident he had earlier in the race. Manages to keep his Ferrari pointing in the same direction and only loses out about a second to Marina Heads. So needs to be grateful that that didn't end a lot worse than it did. Ramadan now back on the back of Donald Duck. Will want to be very careful as they come into into the chicane once again. Doesn't want a repeat of that same incident, as the Aston Martin of light body is just up ahead. Hopefully should not hold them up too much. And of course, this being GT racing, light body is not under any obligation to move out of the way of these two cars behind him. As long as he doesn't actively defend, he's entitled to continue driving his racing line, and it's up to the cars behind to make a move on him. As soon as he starts actively defending, though, that is another matter, and that would be frowned upon in this sort of racing series. But this is all playing into Ramadan's hand, who needs to be on the lookout for the potential to make a move, as Duck is getting held up by Lightbody. But now both of the Aston and the Porsche are past the back marker of Lightbody. Continue their fight. Back at the front of the field, Prune Tracy is closer to Kovacs than he has been all race. Now just 0.3 of a second separating the two drivers. With just over 7.5 minutes remaining of this race, Prune Tracy will be looking to make a move on Kovacs soon, I imagine, as he'd want to make this 2 wins for 2 in this opening round of the FRS ACC Sprint Series. After the mistake a couple of laps back, Alistair Waugh is now back on the diffuser of Marin, and will be trying to eye up a move again. This time potentially being a little more careful than he has been on previous laps, as doesn't want to make another mistake and risk spinning that Ferrari. So they come through the chicane. You see both drivers opting to take a lot of curb there through the chicane. It does appear that Alistair Ward might have the better drive out of the corner here. Just managed to get on the throttle a bit earlier, and this is a good opportunity, as that's a drive-through penalty picked up by Prune Tracy, and that is going to hurt. For a driver who was looking like he could have been on for the race win here, if he just managed to make a move on Kovacs, is now going to fall back at least 30 seconds here at the Nurburgring. So big contact between War and Marin there, and did look like the Mercedes just turned in on the Ferrari a bit, so War just able to drive away now a bit. We want to produce a little bit of a gap behind him so he can start looking at chasing down Hollow, who is currently 5 seconds ahead of this fight, with only 5 minutes remaining of this race. Let's see, is Prune going to opt to take their drive-through penalty soon? They've dropped back a bit from the back of the Porsche of Kovacs. Yep, and opts to dive into the pit lane. So I have to keep an eye on the timing tower and see where Prune Tracy will emerge and what sort of damage limitation they can do on their return to the track. The Spike has now made his way past McDermott and is already pulled a considerable gap back to the Nissan behind. McDermott now needs to worry about Donald Duck in the Aston Martin, who has gone for a very aggressive move at the chicane, and that is a fantastic bit of driving between the two of them. Let's go back and see if we can see that again. Oh, unfortunately didn't go back far enough, but yeah, just very respectful and calculated driving from the both of them, and yeah, did well to avoid what could have been a very big collision. Prune Tracy is back out on track and finds himself behind. It looks like that is the Mercedes of Marin, so the timetable says he's in 5th, but I believe he is currently down in 9th. So that has not gone well for Prune Tracy, and I guess we're going to see in the next just over 3 minutes of this race remaining and see if Tracy can make up a couple of positions. Mcdermott has recently made it back past Duck, so we missed that overtake, but now Duck is looking to return the favour yet again. And surely he's not thinking about making another move into the chicane. It's the sort of risky move you only make once in a race. Oh, and Mcdermott moving to the inside there, defending the inside line that Duck desperately wanted to take there, but no such luck. Duck opts to take a wide line, cuts back into the apex, but maybe just a little too slow around the corner there. Tried to take a tighter line, but slowed down a bit too much for it, and has given McDermott the opportunity to create a touch of a gap behind. Now towards the front of this race, Charlie Chibbles is chasing down FaZe. FaZe, who started this race in pole position but fell back a little bit at the start, has since made up some time and is now finding himself in P2 with the profiting from the drive-through penalty of Prune Tracy, and will want to hold on to that position and hold back the threat of Charlie Chibbles, who is currently chasing him down in the lime green Bentley. As the leader of this race starts the final lap. So next time round he will see the checkered flag. Chibbles that doesn't quite have the traction out of the corner, although with FaZe moving to the inside very early may have given Chibbles the opportunity to just get the better run down onto the brakes, but in the end Chibbles runs it quite wide and falls back from the Lexus of FaZe. Prune Tracy is yet to make any inroads on this fight with Marin, and must be frustrating for the Porsche driver who'd spent so much of this race chasing down the lead, only to pick up a drive-through penalty for track limits violations, and now finds himself down in P7. Just half a lap remaining here. It's going to be a bold move if he wants to take the AMG Mercedes of Marin for 6th place. Chibbles is now also extremely close to FaZe, as FaZe makes a little mistake coming out of the corner, but blocks off the approach of Chibbles, so Chibbles just has to tuck in behind. As Kevin Kovacs rounds the final corner to take the win here in this second race at the Nurburgring. Congratulations to Kevin. As the battle continues between FaZe and Charlie Chibbles. They come around the final corner. It looks like FaZe has got 2nd place in this race, followed by Chibbles. And they're followed closely behind by Krigley and War. And Marin has been able to hold off the Porsche of Prune Tracy, followed closely behind by Hollow. And then we've got a 10-second gap back to Elliott, who crosses the line in the Only Clowns Racing Aston Martin. And Spike in the Porsche, followed behind by McDermott and Duck, who continue their fight all the way to the checkered flag. We have Momes in the McLaren, Ramadan, P14 in the Porsche. Ooh. Al-Khatib having a little bit of a moment there with the pit lane. Just to see what happened. Oh, not sure what happened there at all. So it's gone right off the track at the final corner. Well, that's unfortunate for Hussam, and I hope that hasn't cost him any positions. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen.